All right, thank you guys. Again, I'm Stephanie Silverman, Executive Director here at the Belcourt. I am just beyond thrilled to be able to introduce you again to Dwight Henry, Wink, in the film, and Matt Parker. Matt Parker, who is a co-producer on this film. What we want mostly is to have this be a conversation between you and them. So right out of the gate, any questions? Any questions?
It's really amazing. Having 2 sold-out nights, and we're at the top of the grosses for the 200 theaters that we're in. So yeah, Nashville really came out and supported it, and I had so many old friends come out, like my friend Nick over there, and my mom's back there for the second time in 2 days, and it's been amazing. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much to the Belcourt.
Well, the bakery has been doing well since the movie. I'm actually just finished doing my second film, and the bakery has been doing very, very well since the movie. All the publicity that we're getting from the movie doing so well, and it's been great business to me. I'm actually in the process of opening up my second location, and the name of it is going to be Wink's Bakery and Bistro. I'm naming it after my character. Yeah.
You're going to serve hush puppies,
and right? I'm going to serve hush puppies.
I'd like to hear a little bit about the collective nature of this process. I think it was a unique process as far as a film goes, so I'd love to hear a little bit about how that happened.
Yeah, it was really like a communal effort in a community. Over time, I'd say we ended up with like an 80-person crew, and we rented an old gas station across from a bayou and way down at the kind of the end of the map in Louisiana. And people lived in like double-wide trailers and really got down to work. And it was by the end of the movie, we had people coming in from all over the country and just had heard about what we were doing, and they wanted to lend a hand. So it was really a group effort and really awesome.
It was great. It wasn't hard. Being that I'm from the same region. I'm from New Orleans, and a lot of the things that these group of people had to go through in the film, I have to actually go through in real life. I mean, I was 2 years old when my mom and my dad had to take us out of the house and living in the ninth ward when Hurricane Betsy came and put us on the roof and have to be rescued. And even before we started shooting the film, Lucy, we talked with Lucy, and Lucy explained to me the relationship that she had with her father, and that's what the story was based upon. And she explained some of these things to me. And I have a 7-year-old daughter that I brought a lot of the things that I relate to with my daughter to the film with Nazy. So a lot of things as far as me having a 7-year-old daughter and she is the most important person in the world to me. And the fact that I live in New Orleans and I go through some of the same difficulties that these people go through in that region that they live in. So I brought a realness to this film that an outside actor from Hollywood couldn't have never brought to this film, not going through these things in real life. I go through hurricanes, I lose my home, I lose loved ones. So I brought a real authenticity to the movie that an outside actor from Hollywood couldn't have never brought to it.
And we'll just clarify, Lucy wrote the play that this film was based on and helped write the screenplay, right? So I think it was very integral to the whole thing.
And Lucy was on set and baked just about everybody a pie.
She's a wonderful person, too, a wonderful person. She is amazing. I mean, words can't describe. I mean, she was 5 years old when she came on set. She actually snuck in because they was auditioning 6 and 7-year-olds, and she snuck in at 5 years old, and she is an amazing actress, and she have a wonderful, bright future ahead of her. I look forward to working with her again, and she has nominations coming to her, and she's just a wonderful, bright, smart young lady. Well, some of the things, like I was telling the other young lady, some of the things that, me and Nazy went through, I was able to relate to her having a daughter the same age with Nazy. So we used to sit down and, before shooting, when we after we started shooting, we do different things to bring us close together, to draw us closer together like a father and daughter should be. Just like one day when we wasn't shooting, you know, I'm a baker and I'm a chef. So one day we wasn't shooting. Me and Nazy, we went in the kitchen. We cooked. We baked. We baked cookies. Like father, we did a lot of father and daughter things before shooting and after shooting to bring us closer together. To have that father-daughter type of bond. So the director did a lot of different things to really bring us closer together and to be able to have that chemistry that we needed, so it can show up in the film.
How did she remember her dialogue?
She's smart. She's a bright, smart young lady. I mean, she's way ahead of her time. I mean, they casted over 4,000 little girls for this part, and she stood out ahead of all 3,999 other ones. So she is so bright and so smart. She's an A student, and she's on honor rolls, and it was easy. It was more easier for her to remember the lines than me to remember the lines.
Matt is producer. I mean, they say children and animals tough to work. Like
and water. And
yeah,
just
yeah,
about
right. Like
everything.
you had like the trifecta plus a bunch of other stuff in terms of this film. And so, how was it for you?
It was tough. I mean, I think it was a tough shoot for everybody. We shot for like 7 weeks, and every day there was a different obstacle, from like working with alligators one day to like we were supposed to have a helicopter one day, but it got, when the oil spill happened on like day one of our shoot, so BP came down and took all the boats and helicopters in the area, so we didn't get to use that. But it was a real challenge. But everybody there was giving it everything they had, like from their heart, I think, and it made it so when everybody around you is doing that, it makes it easy, and it was a pleasure. And I don't know if we could ever do a film like that again. It was just this kind of perfect storm of everything happening that was really great.
1%. We had one actor, Levy Easterling, and he was in Glory at Sea, and he did a couple of plays and things like that, but they had one person on the set that actually had acting experience.
Yeah, it was the first non-SAG movie I'd ever done, which is Screen Actors Guild. So, 1% is just about right.
But we all have acting abilities in us, because we all can be put in a particular part and play a particular part. So everybody in here has a certain amount of talent that we can all play in a particular part.
Ben Zeitlin, the director, came up with it, and he worked with a guy named Dan Romer in Brooklyn, and Ben came up with all the rhythms, and Dan would orchestrate it, and they also did the same thing for Glory at Sea, the short, which is on YouTube. It's Glory at Sea is Ben's short film that's kind of the precursor to this, and the score is pretty similar, but it came from Ben, the director.
Yeah, it shows a resilience of the people that live in that region right there. But it's not Katrina, that one particular incident that the film is depicted upon. It's several instances. I can go back to when I was 2 years old, from Betsy to Camille to George to all. It's several different instances that we have to go through living in that dangerous region, that we always going to be facing the possibility of losing things and loved ones, and even things that we're going to have to go through in the future. I was just down in Louisiana, in New Orleans, about a week ago, and we had a bad rainstorm, and practically the whole city almost flooded for a rainstorm. And it's just things that we have to go through that makes us stronger. The more things that we have to go through, the stronger we get and the more resilient we get.
In terms of the distribution, no. But in terms of like it becoming the film that it is today, Sundance Institute had a huge hand in that. This film went through the writer's lab, the director's lab, and the producer's lab, which is all three labs that they offer. And they pair, the creative people on the movie with industry professionals to try and perfect, what they're trying to do. And they were very supportive all through production and development and everywhere else. But in terms of the film landing at Sundance and actually getting acquired, the Institute, doesn't get involved in that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I had to learn on the fly, but I had a lot of help. They actually brought in acting coaches to work with me before we started shooting. They used to bring in acting coaches to work with me during the evening time when I was, but they never could get in touch with me because I was always sleeping. I worked throughout the night at the bakery, and by the time they send the acting coaches to me at noon and 1 o'clock, I'm sleeping and I'm tired. So what they did, they brought in the acting coaches at the bakery at midnight at night. We used to be in the bakery working on different acting techniques, changing emotions. We worked on the script. Me and Ben was in the bakery from midnight at night to 6 o'clock in the morning, working on the script and making changes in the script to be able to suit the way I would say things. Because me and Ben Zaitlin, the way he directed it, we would go over the whole script. We would go over a scene. And he would say, Dwight, how would you say this in the way you would say it? Then I would, because I have a daughter and he don't have a daughter. So he said, how would you tell your daughter this versus the way I want you to say it? Then I'll tell him the way I would say it. Then he'll come back the next day with another script the way I would say it. And it would seem so much natural, just like I'm talking to you in a natural way with my own words. But if I'm trying to talk to you off of somebody else's words, it wouldn't seem as natural. So he wanted everything to be so organic and so natural. He wanted everything to be in my natural words versus the way he want me to say it. So I had a lot of outside help from acting coaches, professional actors. They taught me on the fly, and even after we did certain scenes when we were shooting, they had the acting coaches on the sideline with me, teaching me different techniques that I had to know with emotions and things like that. So I had a lot of help.
Well, again, that's Ben, the director. Ben, had been living in New Orleans around Katrina and post-Katrina, and he'd become, kind of enamored with the bayou, and which is like, an hour and a half south of New Orleans, and he kind of explored, and he found this island called Ile de Jean Charles, which is kind of the causeway that you see in the movie that's kind of covered at the end, that's covered with water, leads to this island. And it's kind of, like Mr. Henry was talking about, an island of survivors that's outside the levee system, and it just gets ravaged, year in and year out by these huge storms. And they continue to stay because it's what they know, and they're survivors. And so Ben, found that island and kind of conceptualized the bathtub after that.
And it is the last piece of land that you get to before you go into the Gulf of Mexico. That is the last island, and it's actually sinking into the ground because the island used to hold 300 families. It was 30 miles wide, 30 miles long, but now it's like 3 miles wide, 3 miles long. They only have 20, 30 families living on the island. In the next 5-10 years, the island won't exist no more because all the saltwater infusion, just like they have cypress forests out there where birds used to migrate from up north to come down south, breed and things like that. Whole cypress forests are gone because of the infusion of the salt water, and the government refused to protect these islands and this piece of land. Great. I mean, the screening that we did a screening in New Orleans, and it was great. I mean, it was a great screening. People really felt the movie. Being from down there, going through these things in real life, they really feel the movie versus, we were screening the movie all up north, California, the West Coast. We're screening it all over the country. But the people down there in that region, they really have a feel and a feeling for what, these people in the film went through. So, it was real emotional for, the people down there in the New Orleans area, especially after Katrina and all the things that we go through down there. It was a real emotional time. Just like when I have to, leaving Nashville Sunday, and I'm going to Houma to actually where we shot the film at to do a screening over there. And I know it's going to be real heartfelt, real emotional and things like that. But this screening I've been to screenings all over the country, and this one is great. I mean, a huge audience and wonderful people. This is one of the best screenings that I've been to.
Ben and the director of the OROC unit, this guy Ray Tintori, who's done a lot of music videos for the band like MGMT, and he's done some really cool shorts. they kind of conceptualized it together. And I think Ben based the look of them on the cave drawings in France of the cave that I can't think of, that you see on Miss Bathsheba's thigh tattoo. Yeah. So that's where he based it. And then the actual, making it come to life, he did with Ray.
And they're tiny in real life, right?
Yeah, they were babies.
Not to give away the magic, but.
So I just want to say we have another person that worked on the movie here. Ode back there worked in the camera department.
Can we get a stand up, Ode?
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. Spread the good word. This film will be here for a while. Tell people to come see it. Support these amazing artists. We're really thrilled you're all here tonight. Thank you very, very much.
Yeah, thank you guys. And thanks to Belcourt.